So now, moving ahead, we are having our next speaker, Ranjan Ray from Conduent. Ranjan Ray is currently the Automation Program Manager for Conduent and has approximately 19 years of professional experience. For the enterprise group, he is in charge of robotic process automation and Microsoft SharePoint automation. He has built CEOs from the ground up for RPA. Ranjan is in charge of delivering innovative solutions through intelligent automation with a focus on increasing business efficiency. And he has assisted in the deployment of multiple automation solutions in the finance, accounting, tax, and human resources domains. And he'll talk about starting small and scaling up with intelligence automation. So now over to you, Mr. Ranjan.
Thank you, Maninda.
Thank you.
Let me share my presentation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, I can see your PPT.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is the last session. I hope all of you are very much alert and awake. And I'm hoping that in the next 30 minutes, I will not put you to sleep. I'm sure there are more work you guys have to do end of this too. Maninder has already given my introduction, but just to add one or two points, we started, I chose this topic, right? Starting small and scaling up with intelligent automation, because I could very well relate me and my team, right? How we started our journey, because when I joined Conduent, from my prior association with Infosys, when I joined Conduent, we were very much at like the first stage of automation in RPA. We're just trying to get our fit together, understand the concepts and how does it value, what is the ROI. So there are a lot of stakeholders. I individually, when I was taken the job of leading the team to deal with that, how do I start deploy a very simple automation, right? And then start showing it to my business that, hey, this is RPA, this is how it can add value to you, right? So that is how my journey had started, that we really started small and picked into some programs which can be deployed very quickly, but it also has some impact. It has some business benefit for us to go and present to our business, right? And then we slowly went into, we got the required confidence by working with the vendors, working with our stakeholders. We got our stakeholders to also learn about automation. I think many of the speakers probably talk about it today in different sessions, that it is not just technology team which can go and then implement something magical and then you can start seeing the value, right? It is really all the associated parties, right? There needs to be actually aligned on the same same wavelength, and then talk about it to really make this a successful program, right? So we really focused initially on the value-added use cases which can be solved by simple automation, be it a scripting, be it RPA, and then we started putting our journey into a few more complex problems which had a lot more impact that you can show, and that's where this intelligence automation comes into play, right? So that is what I'm going to explain today. I don't want to I'll probably my majority of my time I want to spend on my use case rather than the general concept, because I'm sure the audience here are kind of now understand very well, with really some really good presenters come and spoke about it, right, about intelligence automation and things like that, right? So so here is my agenda. I mean, I'm going to spend some time just to once again a recap on automation and intelligent automation. How does the journey go? What exactly we call as an intelligent automation? And then I straight away want to focus back on the use cases that I implemented for Conduent. And as Maninder told, I'm in charge of automation for the enterprise group of Conduent, meaning that I look at the corporate functions, not any clients. So the use cases that I'm going to talk about is for my organization, and the same thing I'm sure you can go back and then relate it. If you have not implemented any automation in that area, that is something for you to take back from the session and then reevaluate and see if you can implement it exactly or better for your own organization, right? Automation maturity model, right? So automation to intelligent automation, I'm just giving a slight different view I don't think I'm going to talk about anything uh, completely different to what you've heard so far about intelligent automation, but it's a journey, right? When I start talking about this, that how do we started our journey, I mean, I could very well relate to, like, this is the steps, right? You cannot, if you have not done a simple RPA, even though there are hundreds of your product partners, vendors come and say, hey, let's go and start straight away jump into an intelligent robotics implementation, I would say just put a break and then just kind of look at it and then see your teams, your business model, see the entire stakeholders, are they all ready? Maybe you can just look at building a simple RPA, bringing, go to the next level of cognitive robotics, right? There are different engines, and then you can solve still a good amount of problems for the corporates or for your client base, and then you can still get a lot of efficiency, right? And but it's pretty evident that from your journey from your simple automation to robotics to cognitive to intelligent robotics, you are going to get a lot more efficiency. You are going to get a lot of value add to your business, right? Business is going to straight away see, prior and post of implementation of an intelligent robotics, how, their whole work dynamics has changed, right? And that is because, you can go from a very simple scripting macro based automation to, start implementing some rules, simple rules, complex rules, including robotics. And it's more or less still focused on the task automation, right? If you go and take any business process, they will say, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. You can maybe go and solve using a simple RPA, deploy an RPA and then solve that problem, and you can gain some efficiency there. But if you look at a big picture, right, any business unit, if you look at it, probably the top stakeholders, they may or may not see the impact if you start only solving the problem at the ground level, right? So that's where there is an opportunity for us to understand and look at what is the technologies available with us, jump into the cognitive robotics side of it, and look at what is that is available with the market today. There are a lot of solutions, and again, this is just a few examples, team. There is lot more that has come in today, and there is a, ways to really solve the problem, right? Document passing and many other use cases that you can solve, right? Your chatbots, how you can make it a very interacting chatbot, right? In terms of, implementing some NLP logics behind the scenes, right? Voice recognition, you can implement that. Any case management integration by including some BPM platform, right? Then you can go to the last and the most, advanced, if I may put it, intelligent robotics, where you can solve by, bringing some artificial intelligence into play. It can train on its own. You don't have to really code for everything. It can do some self discovery, right? You can do that, in different stages of your life cycle. During, you can help identification of the problem itself can be done through intelligent robotics, and, solving that, of course, you can take deep learning and many other computer vision, which is again based on a deep learning methodology itself, right? So all that, the components that comes in the intelligent robotics, you can start looking at implementing it, and then thereby, uh, bringing a lot of efficiency to your business groups, right? uh, I will move on to the next slide. Intelligent automation. So intelligent automation, like you would have heard, right? I mean, it needs a few components, right? It is not a traditional RPA. It needs an AI part of it. Without that, you cannot call something as an intelligent automation, right? If you are not using any machine learning, you are not putting any, any complex algorithm, if you're just simply doing a rule based automation, you cannot call that as an intelligent automation. So you need to, so AI is your key component of intelligent automation, right? So you need to kind of look at a problem. If a problem can be solved using RPA, don't, overdo it by thinking, can I make it as an intelligent automation, right? You need to really identify the correct use cases. I think some of them we have seen in earlier presentations. There are really some really good cases based on your industry, based on your business function that you are dealing with it. Look at where AI can play a role, right? So AI has to be part of it. And then this is my way, you can have an AI and an RPA combination of things, but why I have put this three, in together to really come out and realize the benefits of intelligent automation, right? So you need to have an RPA which can do many of the repetitive tasks, especially if you talk about bringing benefits to an end-to-end process. Then you are definitely have to do some simple tasks. You need to do some tasks where there is a cognitive elements coming to picture, and then this output of this whole AI, right? You need to be able to use it somewhere in a way so that you don't still leave a lot of you know manual processing there. Right? So that's where the BPM can really come into picture, where you can take the output of this RPA and AI and put into a business process or management kind of a platform where you can build the screens, workflows, and then you can instruct the business, right? What is that they can do, right? And this is all can come and play on top of the applications which will be there, they will be dealing with, right? So all everything that they are doing and any decision making, all that thing can plug into your BPM layer of it, right? So AI, BPM, RPA, I kind of see all these three together. If you plug it in, it can give you a fantastic outcome for any business problem, right? So next I will go basically to the use case which I spoke at the start of my session, that what use case actually we solved using intelligent automation, right? So I will focus on that a bit, and I will for the benefits of this user group to understand it well, I'm going to basically give an example of RPA implementation there and an intelligent automation implementation there, right? I think that probably would kind of give you the right clarity of where how intelligent automation is making a bigger differentiation there, right? So this is just take a minute to kind of read through this diagram. But invoice processing, in case while I kind of assume you might kind of guess what exactly goes under an invoice processing, but I will still kind of explain it just briefly. This is kind of a very standard process, the kind of systems that you send for any corporate, right? Because why you send an invoice? Because somebody has given you a service, given you a product, so you're supposed to pay for them. So somebody will send you an invoice, right? So vendors will send you an invoice, and then there will be I'm talking about Conduent's world. If there is a certain organization who deals with it slightly differently, maybe your end-to-end process will look slightly different. But there's a very typical where somebody will sending an invoice, and there is a team which will be monitoring a mailbox which is being meant for the invoice processing, right? Account payable mailbox, and their team will basically go and then say, hey, is this for a particular region? Especially for global companies, you will have invoices or mailboxes for different countries specific. If you have operations in India, you want an India specific team to go and look at it. If you have operations in US, you might want a different team, or it could be a global team too, depending on how the organization is structured, right? So there will be a mail room team where these mails will come in, invoices will come in, and in case of Conduent, this team was basically following the methodology of scanning, taking a printout and scanning it, because that scanning process, this printing and scanning component that you see. So this is where the program. This is a very legacy way of doing it, but this has been there for a very long time. But the program of scanning is where it was taking all these individual pages as digital documents, and then it will send the responses back to another team, which is the data entry team. So somebody is sending an invoice saying that, hey, item one, you have ordered 10 laptops. The amount is $10,000. You have ordered, 5 different hardware, so the amount is $2,000. Things like that. They will put it in the line item. So this data entry team, they will have a keyer and a verifier. There are two people. One person will make a data entry into the two, and the second person will again go and verify it. So that is what they used to do to record the invoice data. So this is the first step into our world, where we will start entering the name of the vendor, the invoice, the amount, the due dates, things like that, right? And from there will be a process which will flow into an AP legacy. This is basically a workflow system where all the global data of invoices will come and reside over here. And then post that, we have implemented this is basically digital. We went through an digital transformation. We deployed a out of the box smart SAP procurement platform, which basically came and replaced one of the legacy systems, right? And this was a very one of the top, top SAP tool available in the market today. I don't want to name the vendor here, but we did implement it. So it solved some of the problems, but it also brought along with it a lot of new headaches for the account payable team, right? Because uh, to start with, they had a lot of legacy systems where the processing was very, very slow. They had team one, team two, and team three who had to work together to get the data back into the procurement platform. Uh, and on top of that, there is a lot of other compliance requirements that came in when we deployed this tool, right? Saying that, hey, every invoice copy you are entering into it, you must have a digital document. Prior to that, they were not transferring the document from this system to that system. And these documents are also stored in a very peculiar fashion, where it's like if it's a 10-page document, it was like stored as 10 digital documents, one document for each page, right? That's how this legacy system was working. So the team, the account payable team, once this system has been put into place, they actually had to apply a lot of bandwidth, and then they were saying, "Hey, we don't know how do we manage this system. I mean, we are getting, more escalations from the supplier. We are getting some, our compliance team is behind us, saying that why are you not having all the information that we expect you to put it? So how do you solve the problem, right? So this is how they came to us, automation team, saying that how can you solve this problem, right? So they highlighted this particular problem, but when we looked at this entire workflow, right, we found out there is a number of issues there which automation can play a role there, right? So the starting with the mail room, what activities they are doing, the DE team, what activity they are doing, and this team, what activities they are doing, everything, called for an automation to come in and do, right? But we took it in two steps, because like I said, the intelligent automation, if you plan it, it might also need a certain time, and then there is an immediate problem we need to go and solve, right? So that is why we kind of prioritized or split this project into kind of a phase one and phase two, where we said, hey, let's solve the first problem which business is complaining about, right? And while we do this project, let's put an analyst who will go and then talk to each of this team member, create, basically there are not enough documentation, we go and create a process documentation first, and then look at the pain points, and then we come up with an intelligent automation kind of a solution, right? So so this is what I explained. This is kind of what it is. You kind of listed it out, problem statement, not going through each of the points, but there are a lot of inefficiencies, manual errors, volume of inquiry was very, very high, saying that, when suppliers are frustrated, saying that, yes, you have done a lot of digitization, you have done your digital upgradation, but our payments are getting stuck, right? We don't know how efficiently your team is working, but our, we are not getting payments on time. We are giving you service on time. Why are you not paying us on time, right? And so things like that, there are a lot of problems were there, and we kind of looked at what is the business case for this. There could be an improvement in turnaround time. There could be an improvement in from a compliance standpoint, right? So all those things we documented there, and then we went with an initial RPA kind of an automation, uh, where it will solve the immediate problem. And then we also in parallel documented and went with the intelligent automation full-fledged solution, right? And then I will explain maybe first with the RPA automation. So if you look at this, so this, the diagram that I showed earlier versus the diagram I'm showing now, there's only one place we made an impact. This is where we deployed a bot, because there was a lot of issues initially that was coming up from taking the data from the AP workflow system to this procurement tool, right? So this is where we went ahead and initially deployed a bot where it will log in, basically there are multiple users, there is a processor, there is a supervisor. Every activity we will go and automate that, transferring the digital document from system to system, running this 24/7, more than one. We started with one robot, then we deployed two robots, which will like split. This is a workflow queue. If there is 200 invoices pending to be processed, we'll go and split it 100, and then we run it two bots, and then we start taking it. So it's really within a very small span, we are able to implement this bot, and then it itself gave a lot of relief not only to the processing team but also to the compliance team. And the auditors who are actually behind us, they could see that every single document that could be now transferred from this system to this system, and we are kind of for a short term impact perspective, we are able to still make a good amount of impact here in terms of business benefits. Some of them I've represented here. One or two are more important in terms of the average handling time improvement because of the bot running 24/7, and then the audit compliance perspective. Because of automation, there was absolutely no issues. We did a good job in terms of getting all the data and putting it back here. So this itself was a impactful automation for us, but we did not stop there, and we said, hey, can we do something? How do we get the data? This is a digital document. There is a supplemental documents. A lot of information is coming to this. How do we get the data automatically from the mailbox? And do we need this D tool really? Do we need this API legacy system? Right? The way it has been working and multiple people groups operating, how do we put an intelligent automation solution here, right? And this is where is the current state of the process, right? It took us some time because we realized that we need to go and then deploy an OCR engine first of all, because we are talking about invoices, and every company, we are dealing with thousands, multi-thousands of suppliers across the globe, right? So obviously you can understand that the invoices are going to be different. First of all, format is also different, and then your type, something PDF, certain other kind of document also we started getting. So how do we basically go about solving that problem of parsing the documents, extracting all the meaningful information that we want to? So we basically evaluated a few OCR at that point of time. This was in 2019, some point of time towards the end of 2019. We evaluated some of the leading OCR engines and shortlisted on one of them. And then we did some of a POC, and then we were able to see that not only it was able to do, extract the information with the accuracy level we wanted to, but we could also see a certain of NLP coming into picture, AIML, part coming into picture, where this OCR engine was able to kind of, it's already, let's say, it has already trained a few hundreds of invoices, templates, a few other new invoices. It was automatically able to extract the data, if not 100%, 80-90%, right? So the amount of training started going down when we started using the engine with more and more number of invoices, right? So we put an OCR engine here, and then I was talking about the BPM component, the entire extraction, and then we wanted to put it to a place where the account payable team could come and then see what are the extraction of the data in case they have to make any changes to it, number one. Plus, if they have to take a decision before they load into this, if the supplier has not, for an example, have not given you any correct information, right? They have actually delivered 20 laptops, but they're quitting us for 25 laptops. Things like that. There has to be a placeholder for them before they go and then process it for payment. So we created a business process management tool for them, and then we put it different queues and things based on based on the type of invoices, so that this team can come and then validate it, and then just kind of give a go at that. Okay, this is good to go. So the amount of time they were actually spending there also very minimal, and this process itself was taking the digital document or all the invoice documents, transfer it back, and this is again we have put another bot which could take it from this application to the procurement platform, right? So this entire thing, if you look at the benefits, right? So, I mean, I was showing in the previous slides, this is like day one, day two, how much time it takes, because so many user groups working in different time zone, right? Time zone of the globe. They're working on it. They're handing it over. Sometimes they go back and forth. So it easily take 48 hours to really get one invoice into this, right? But this is again, that 48 hours is also a best case scenario for us. So there could be multiple other reasons where in this handshake, there could be certain issues where it would take more time, right? So the best case scenario was 2 days for us, whereas the way we design this program, if there is no exception there, it could actually, from the moment this mail comes to the point it hits here, based on the rules that we have set it up, certain invoices could fit here as easily as 30 minutes. Right? So that is the kind of impact we created, and then we have been adopting this more and more. We just did kind of it was initially kind of a pilot launch for us where we only did for a handful number of suppliers, and then within a 2-3 iterations we really increased the number of suppliers. So I think as of today we at least 30 to 40% of the entire global supply chain of Conduent, we are using this platform to process the invoices, and we plan to increase the coverage more and more as we go. But this is really a great learning for me or my team, and even the business also who work with us. We go in different internal forums to go and present this to. So that have a quick time check here. I think we're about 5 now. I think that's where I want to kind of take a pause here, team. I hope I purposefully did not take separate use cases. I kind of wanted to take one simple use case where you can look at how RPA can make an impact, how intelligent automation can make an impact. So Maninder, I think I would kind of conclude my presentation here. And yeah, if there is any questions are there, I'm happy to take it up.
Yeah, sure, Ranjan.
Is there any questions for me, team?
So yes. So you may ask your questions right now if you have any queries, or you can type in the chat box. No problem. So that was a wonderful session. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Ranjan.
Thanks, Maninder.
Thank you. So now that we have reached the conclusion of our online conference, and I would like to express my gratitude to our delegates for participating, and I hope you all had an enjoyable time, as well as our speakers for delivering informative sessions. We hope to see you again at our upcoming conference. Thank you again, and have a wonderful evening to all of you. And I'm looking forward to an extended association. Thank you so much.